Welcome to Your Known Unknown, where Source and I will help to shed light on what's unknown to you. We got another video up here for you. We're going to pull some cards. We're going to see what we need to see. We're going to gander upon what we need to gander upon. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Let's intuit. Let's pull some cards for you today. This message is general, but if you find there's some resonance in here for you. If you trust your subconscious enough, let's see what we need to see today, real quick. As soon as I get this little bug here, get out of here. All right. Thank you, Spirit. I hope y'all are having a great day. Happy Monday. First card up, we have the Hermit reversed. I'm very comfortable with the Hermit energy. So I'm pretty comfortable in explaining that the Hermit energy itself wants to express, focus, inward contemplation, journeying, finding your own light within, seeing what it is that moves your soul, that makes you beat to your own rhythm, you know. The Hermit itself, upright, has the lantern. This is his North Star. His North Star is guiding the way for himself, isolated, to journey through, to find, and to accept his calling, his himself, her or herself, whatever. Reversed will put this idea of it's time to break free from the isolation and to start putting out what it is that you're creating. It's time to start to connect. It's time to start to express self. Whether that's with people or without people, it doesn't matter, but it's time for you to let it out. I also at the bottom of the deck have the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Now this is opposing energy, but the supportive energy, we have the Lover's card. So for you, this is something you're good at, whatever it is you're doing. The fact that these cards are coming up in a reading right now are kind of implying to me that you sit in a sense of procrastination. Ding, 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 ding. Did I hit the nail on the head? Are you a chronic procrastinator to some degree? Well, I am. And we're working through that. And what's ironic is working through that is just working. It's just doing it. That was actually a really powerful supportive card to come up. I wasn't really expecting that. But it's accurate. It's explaining that you, chronic overthinker, chronic procrastinator, chronic lover, isolated for some time, whatever that means in your story, you took a step back in life, whether it was forced or it was intentional. During that time, you saw, you were seeing as a seer. During that time, you were prolific, you were changing. You got the distractions out of the way so you could see things. And now you're slowly being reintegrated back into the wild, aka you're getting more responsibility and power with your decisions, with your life. The divine has said you won't do anything bad, so you have you have free will again. You're no longer in this facet being trained by yourself to be a better you. You've kind of broken through that first barrier. You found a North Star. You listened to the silence. You embodied the darkness. You probably have a lot of Scorpio or strong Scorpio placements in your system, in your chart. But with the Lover's card popping out, there's something that's meant for you. And whether it's on the tip of your tongue or just sitting there saturating your imagination, that's it. That's it there for you. And, to be honest, what's there for me is something I know nothing about. And in my story, and I listen to it full heartedly and full mindfully, they say, you say, Spirit says, just go do it. You know enough to just go do it. Go do it. Go fail. Go figure it out. We sit and we pray and we manifest, and we as human beings, we expect it to be given to us. We don't really, especially in the depths of despair, anticipate pulling ourselves out of our own shit and our shackles, right? But we do. We have to. We're ultimately the ones that do it for ourselves, for our life. And it takes time to get into that mindset of, okay, Spirit, I'm at rock bottom. I need your help because I don't know what else to do. I'm at a loss and I fully surrender, or at least want to know what surrendering to you will look like, what it is like. For me, man, that shit was like a 5-year journey. it isn't easy, but again, it's a practice and it's never ending. And I'm more and more accepting of it. However, the further along I got pulling myself out from rock bottom, the more I kind of realized, I wasn't the one making the choices. I was the one that had to accept the choices and initiate them and engage in them to actuate them. But also B, that I'm not meant to figure out what I'm meant to be doing. I'm meant to figure out how and why and what I'm feeling during this. And if I just focus on that, we're cultivating greater powers than we've ever understood by just trying to achieve in life. We're trying to achieve comprehension of our soul along the process. Now, it has made a lot of things last a lot longer than it's needed to. It has made and prolonged a lot of things like success, but really, am I just saying that, or is that the actual belief that's happening? Because hasn't everything wound up perfectly as it's intended to so far in life, anyways? Every mishap, every lesson, every problem, every solution, every come up, glow up, haven't they been perfectly laid in place this whole time? When you really stop and think about it. Human minds are so emotionally driven and so, I want to say computative, but, computative, that logic really only seems to get the best of us. Logic does seem to save us a lot. Once something's been figured out, we call it the logical way of figuring that thing out. It's just a way. It doesn't mean it's the way. It means it's a way. And it could be the only way, but who knows? We won't know until we try other ways, and if everyone's too afraid to try other ways and or unconscious to the fact of there being multiple ways, we're really only logically looking at one way, right? So who are you to really decide what's perfect and what's not, and what's been accurately played out or not? It's not really up to us to say, it's just up to us to validate our emotions so we don't become traumatized and move forward onto the next challenge in life where we progress more. Again, though, none of these challenges, none of these realizations were mine. They came to me, they were gifted. Some of them were shoved in my face and said, figure it out. And shit, we had to figure it out. But 10 out of 10 times I prayed to help figure it out. 10 out of 10 times I did the thing I didn't want to do because the thing I wanted to do was easy. Sometimes the easy way was the right way, was the way Spirit wanted me to do it. Me to do it. Not you to do it, not them to do it, no one else. Everybody. Spirit wants them and you to do it y'all's own way. My way is my way. My way played out how my way needs to play out. Your way is playing out the way your way needs to play out. And you got to really kind of keep that in mind when all hope is lost and you're bored and you're broke and you don't know what to do, and realize somehow, some way, in some sect of human belief systems, this is exactly what I should be doing. So maybe embrace the present moment and do what you're doing right now. Don't be thinking about what you should be doing. Just do what you're doing right now. Right? That is the present. Yes, we do have brains that daydream, and while I'm sitting there during my day job, I'm just daydreaming all day long. Why? For me, because it's entertaining. I like my brain. I like my mind. I like seeing where it wants to travel to when I'm not controlling it. I like to see what comes into my awareness and observe that. And I have hours upon hours each day where I'm available to do that. I get to put in earplugs. I get to zone out. I get to literally, in a repetitive cycle, meditate all day long during my day job. It's pretty nice. It took me a few months to come to that understanding, like, okay, what am I doing here? On a line working. Well, I'm getting paid, not spending money, which is cool. And I get to meditate. I get to dream. I get to visualize. I get to dive into my brain with no distractions for hours on end every single day. That's great. Again, though, there's some things where Spirit's like, figure it out. And we're forced to figure it out. But I'm also finding out that the boredom is what's pushing me. The constant. Every day when I'm present. So, anyways, I'm daydreaming, right? I'm visualizing, I'm doing all these things. And at the same time, when I start to go down a rabbit hole in my mind that I'm like, hey, I'm not really too particular to these thoughts, I have every opportunity to say cancel, 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 and pull back out and get right back into reality where I'm working and focus right there on what's happening. Nobody knows I went in and out of my brain. Nobody knows that I went in and out of reality, that I'm focused, not focused, whatever. Luckily, I'm an overthinker, so I can multitask and I can make sure safety precautions are being put in place while I'm doing these visualizations and stuff like that. Woohoo for toxic mindsets, right? ADHD is our best friend. Who are you to say it was a problem? Me? I'm not a problem. You're not a problem. Problems are problems because they can be solved. If there wasn't a solution to a problem, it would be the solution anyways, right? It would be the answer. That's the answer. That doesn't work. So who the fuck are you to say there's a problem or no problem? Who are you to believe that you're a problem or not a problem? We all just make choices, and we have to live in this present moment of those choices, and sometimes those choices don't line up with other people's choices, so they disagree. So now it's a problem? No, it's not. It sounds like a personal issue to me. Anyways, so the Lover's card. supporting the hermit reverse. That's saying that what you need to be doing is what you need to be doing. What is being told to you, what is being laced over your self. I'm comfortable doing my regular days. I'm comfortable not striving for dreams. But is that fulfilling? No. In the long run, no. Right now, yeah, heal. Take time. You're young. You have a life. Yes, you could die tomorrow. Who cares? I started asking myself that question every day. Spirit, is today the day that I die? And they would go, yeah. And I'd go, beautiful. Thank you. And I would live that day to fulfillment. Not egoic fulfillment, self fulfillment. I realized if today was the day that I actually died and I was out running groceries or distracting myself, procrastinating, doing these things, like, is that how I'd want to spend my last day? No. Granted, I don't get to go skydiving, I don't get to build monuments, I don't get to travel the world in one day today on this whim of a thought. No. But I do accept my reality. And I remember driving when I had these epiphanies, these, is today the day that I die, because driving around is one of my favorite things to do to clear my mind. Besides going to the gym, I love driving around, using up my car, putting miles on it. It's my favorite thing to do. Driving around with no destination. And that was great for a few years. And then eventually, I wanted a destination. Eventually, I wanted a reason to be driving around because that driving around just wasn't fulfilling anymore. It wasn't healing enough for me. It wasn't meditative or distractive enough. It wasn't fulfilling. Then I started driving to something else I wanted to do. And to be transparent, I used to hate hiking. I hated hiking. I was like, why are you going to go out into the woods and go on a big ass, long, tiring hike where the people you're with don't know the end, Like, and then you get there and you're like, okay, this was great. Let's turn around. Like, hiking sucks the first time. Hiking is amazing every other time where you know where you're going, where you expect what you're doing, right? So, anyways, my little tangent about hiking. Nonetheless, I love hiking now. I love it. I love going to the woods. I love finding these new places. Like, it took me a few years to learn how to be alone. It took me a few years to learn how to appreciate my body, how to pull myself out of negative emotions that were holding me back from pushing my body to the new limits, new limitations. And the more I push that bar on the limitations, the more I see my capabilities are improving, my abilities are improving, my strength is improving, my physique, my confidence. The chemicals inside of my body started moving around and actually functioning more appropriately again instead of staying stagnant by moving my body. Clearing my body, clear my mind. Clear my mind, know the next answer. So, what I'm getting at is I loved driving around, and I would be like, I don't want to go on a hike. No, unless I, had to hike to get to like a hot springs or something that I knew. But until then, I wasn't down. I didn't like it. It wasn't my cup of tea. I'm a coffee drinker right now. So now that I love hiking, I go driving long distances to go and find some random ass place to go and experience. And if I don't get the full experience that time, I will go again and get a fuller experience the next time. And I've been doing that. And I've been showing up for myself. And each time I go to a spot to go and work out, to go and hike, to go enjoy nature and push my body to new levels, a fuller, accomplished sense washes over me each and every time. And each and every time I do go a little further. I do get a little farther. I do push myself a little harder. And it feels fucking great. All right? So it'll feel great for you too, because you're a human being with a body just like me. I'm not saying there's your answer, but I'm saying it helps. It helps. Like, I don't care what I'm doing, I care about what Spirit wants me to do. So I am constantly sitting in a few seconds ahead of present, chronically. I say chronically because it is a little bit of an issue. It is something that holds me up in my mind. And so we practice and practice and practice, going, cancel that thought. Let's get back into the present. We're here right now. My reality here right now is great. My reality here right now, when I'm at work doing my job, it's kind of boring, kind of unfulfilling. I'm living someone else's dream and I'm just collecting money for it. But that's okay. We're all people. Again, I go in and out of my mind and I come back into the present and I'm like, God, this place sucks. Let's go back into my mind. And I'm back into my mind. And I come back in and I was like, this place sucked a minute ago. And I like that. But I don't like thinking things suck. And I'd like to appreciate my job. So I'm grateful to have a job. I'm grateful to be here making money right now. I'm so grateful, Spirit, that you actually wound me up with a physically easy job. That really the biggest complaint that I have about my job is the lack of pay. Like, I want more pay. I get paid well, but I want more. I want the opportunity laid in front of me to see how I can make more. Spirit gave me that. I have a new dream, a new goal. I have something I'm working on in the background, behind the scenes, to help advance a business that took me in and I showed up for, and I've learned to appreciate, like all this shit, all these things that I'm like, oh yeah, no, I do. I love my job. I love my life. As simple, as poor, as lesson filled as it's been, I love this. I love this. I am so grateful. I am so grateful to have been hurt how I've been hurt. I am so grateful to have died and died again, to come back with new understandings, new connection, new direction. Because when I died, I didn't let it defeat me. I didn't quit then. It wasn't like, this is life, life sucks, I'm done. And I didn't live the rest of my life like that. I sat there and was like, this shit sucks. And everybody around me is capable of doing it on their own. Why can't I? And so I had to figure out how I can. And I started facing my fears. And I started doing the opposite of things I ever wanted to do. And that started to work. It started to biohack me into more of me by consciously doing something different, going about it differently, experiencing new. The more I experienced new stuff, the more I could compartmentalize my reality and my being. So I'd experience this and be like, that is or is not for me. I feel blah, blah, blah. My opinion, blah, blah, blah. What we're doing is we're growing our ego like a plant. Other people have grown us like a plant, but at some point in life, when you realize you're the one in control, if life's not everything that you want it to be, you need to pull that plant out. That plant is yourself, your belief system, your ego, currently your life, your perception, you. You need to rip the roots out and replant something that suits your needs a little better. You have to tend to that plant. You have to grow that plant. You've grown this plant around all these other plants, and maybe some of these other plants really start to snuff out your plant, and you're like, I want this plant. I am this plant. Something in me says I am this plant, and I have every possibility to be this plant. Fuck that. A tree. Who said I have to be a plant? I'm gonna be a tree. And I'm gonna grow these roots so deep. Just saying, like, that's kind of the metaphor that we're doing. We're not trying to get rid of the ego, we're trying to accept it full heartedly because it wants to be welcomed. This plant knows it's a poisonous plant. This plant knows it's different than other plants. And when it gets put in a field of other plants, it's going to start to react. It's going to start to defend itself. It's going to figure out how to thrive or how to function on its own, genetically, chemically, electrically, etc., organically, naturally, evolutionarily. This plant's going to figure out how to plant, right? But it does take help, it does take nurturing. And if you're not a gardener, then why don't you go and ask the gardener? If you're not a gardener yet, why don't you pray and ask the master gardener to help water your fucking fields for you and show you what that can be like? And take the time and listen quietly to the water trickling, because Spirit is constantly raining down on us, constantly flushing us with fresh water, electricity, electrolytes, I was going to say. And all we got to do is pray, or believe, or have faith, or whatever. Prayer, by the way, doesn't have to be such a religious connotation to it. It doesn't have to be like, Our Father who art in heaven. You know, it doesn't have to be like that. A prayer is a mantra, one where you emotionalize connection in your heart while you're saying, while you're asking, while you're connecting. And that's it. It's the peace and love and boldness you feel when you were right all along and you just found out. But instead of being like, I was right and you're wrong, it's like, well, thank you. Thank you for validating that I was correct. Not a big deal. Here we are today. You know? So it's time to shine. It's time to do what you what you want to do. What Spirit's telling me to do, I don't want to do it. I don't. I don't want to do it. But to get to where I want to get in life, Spirit goes, you're going to have to do that. I'm like, okay, I will. They're like, when? I'm like, when I feel like it. And they're like, that's not the way this works. Because eventually, you, human mind, you're going to fizzle away from that. So here in the present, honor your feelings, honor yourself, and master yourself. Create yourself into a master while you master yourself. You know? And I'm like, okay, so this is what you want me to do? And they go, this is what we want you to do. Yeah. Find the time to do it. Okay, I will. 2 weeks from now? They're like, 2 weeks from now. And if I don't do it because I've not done things before and I've procrastinated them away and didn't learn these lessons, Spirit's like, okay, we still love you. I'm like, thank you. And at that point, I realize I am the only one letting myself down. I don't know if what I was intended to do in the past would have succeeded or not. Those are what ifs. What ifs, should be's, and could be's, and they're unvalidatable. You don't know, so who cares? Who cares what your life would be like if you stayed with that girl? Who cares what your life would be like if you finished school? Who cares what your life would be like if you didn't get that car and you got a different car? Or if you moved cities at X age and realized blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Really? Who the fuck cares? Who cares if your body is stronger than mine? Who cares if your mind is more potent than mine? Who the fuck cares? Those are all what if, should be's, and could be's. The fact is what is here right now is I'm here, you're there, I am feeling away, you're feeling away, and we both don't have to disagree with that. And if one of us does disagree about that, we don't have to feel any form of emotional charge about that disagreement. And if we do, that is the level in which out of control of ego you are. So if I say something and you vividly disagree, why are you getting triggered? Why are you so upset? Who cares? My belief, my mind. You have yours. You can change the channel. Or on the contrary, you have to understand anxiety. Anxiety is like excitement. They're the same fucking feelings. Just one has a positive outlook and one is this chronic, I don't even want to say negative because anxiety is a pretty good superpower, but it doesn't feel great, you know. Doesn't feel very grounded when you're sitting with anxiety, but you know, as I'm sitting here saying something and your anxiety gets triggered, there's another tell. Okay, so you're not angry, you don't disagree, you're like, oh, I don't agree with that opinion, no, that's not my views, not my belief. Okay, so you're something else. That's egoic defense, something that you're not wanting to agree with or like or look at or be open-minded about. Okay, I'm not here to push that. But if I say something and you get anxiety, you get fear, there's a block, there's another limitation, there's something holding you back, there's something unknown to you. Same thing with anger, I guess. Just unknown. And how you're reacting tells a lot about what you got to work on. There is the occasional confusion within that because sometimes how you react doesn't resemble how you actually feel. Sometimes we're scared and we lash out with anger. Sometimes we're angry, we lash out with silence. See what I mean? And you got to go past that veil first. You have to look at yourself first, objectively and honestly. You got to look at yourself and be like, okay, well, I was actually really afraid in that moment of hurting somebody's feelings. And, well, by speaking my mind, I ended up hurting their feelings by telling my truth, not the truth, my truth, which ultimately is the truth to me, you know. And who knows how it was to work out after that? That's a two-way street with another person. So being objective is very important, and learning how to be objective with how you're viewing life can really help you out, especially when we're such subjective beings that it seems like that's all there is in the world. And then we're so passionate to defend our subjectivity that we think we're right, and then turns out so many human beings have been so right in so many different fields that now logically that's the answer, that's the way you do stuff, that's the way life is. Okay, you grow up, you learn how to tie your shoes first, you grow up, you learn how to use silverware next, you always use the fork for salad. Why would you use a spoon for salad? I don't know, asshole. Why would people use chopsticks? Why do people use their hands? Why do people scoop up yogurt with the tinfoil lid and make a homemade spoon out of it? Because we can. Because we can. There is no unethical moral written in any testament in time and space that says I can't turn a lid into a spoon and use it. Try pulling that shit in a professional business meeting, right? I don't need a haircut to be professional. I don't need my hood down for people to respect me. I don't need to be clean shaven to get money, you know? I just need to be me. And that lets a lot of other fears fall to the wayside. Not immediately. It takes time and it takes proof and validation to see that you're actually doing good for yourself. It takes time. It takes new experiences that for you to look at yourself objectively and be like, "Oh yeah, I actually did do a good job. I did better than I did in the past." You know? Okay, I might have reacted the same way as I have. Maybe that is just me and who I am, but I didn't say these snipey things. What I said was honest. I don't regret anything I did or said or how I acted. I just wish that maybe I was a little more peaceful or something, less emotional, less passionate. But fuck it, we'll try better next time. You know? Like, I know where I go wrong. And it kind of sucks because sometimes I do know where other people go wrong too. And it really upsets them when I'm like, hey, I know what I did wrong. That's my problem. You know what else my problem is? Is I know what you did wrong too, and you don't, you know? A lot of the reasons why I know what other people do wrong is because I don't feel like it's really up to me to show other people how to love me. I think that I will find the right people, and when we do, it'll just work. There will be no effort necessary. The effort that will be put into these relationships with me will be for progress and advancement. They won't be in connection and equality. No, because we already know we're equal. We already know we are equality. We're just looking to rule the world together so the world can be a better place. Create an empire with me, if you would. Wow. Your current energy is Lover's card with the Hermit reversed, coming from Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles and the Justice card. You have done, leading up to the Hermit reverse with this Justice card, you've put in a lot of inner work. You've done something. You've look at your life where you're at right now and how unimpressed you probably are. Okay. But then look at your life and who you are right now. And I can guarantee from these cards, from your past energy, that you have been given an opportunity from the divine that is divine. And because you did something within, you've earned to be in this place where you're at today with the opportunity of entangling with the archetype of the Lover's card with yourself. You have done enough work, enough perceptions, enough internal shifting, and the divine has deemed it appropriate to give you your reward. Your reward is a better future that you get to work towards, that you get to enjoy, that you get to create, that you get to grow that plant that you just uprooted. You put some seeds or maybe a start in the ground. Spirit goes, this tree, this plant, you didn't like that other plant, so we worked on showing you how to figure out how to get that out of your garden and go compost it or harvest it and reap what you could out of it. Something. Now you have this other plant. Spirit goes, if you grow this thing right, this will be the best plant in the world. It will be exactly what you and every dream you've ever had will find fulfillment with if this plant gets given the correct ingredients to grow to its fullest potential, it will change the world. And you go, okay, that's really cool. I like that plant. How do I grow it? And Spirit goes, bye bye. And you're like, fuck. Okay, I guess we'll figure it out. The unconditional love that Spirit is, they will never not give you an answer, but they will always not give you the answer. You just get another one, and then the next, and then the next. Why? Because you know what you want. They're gonna help you get there. You don't get to know how. You just get to be in the moment and make the appropriate choices to cultivate your best destiny for yourself. So, anxiety is kind of like a, what's the term, precursor to that. You have anxiety because you don't trust yourself. You have fear and depression because you don't like parts of yourself. You don't agree with it. You don't believe in it. You don't have faith in it. What if you stop taking pride in all the things that you're confident in, and you start really addressing all the things that you're not confident? In fact, you start addressing the things that you're ashamed of, the things that embarrass you, the things that make you feel weak. What if you start to work on those diligently? There are things that I was ashamed of, things that I still am, but I'm working on moving through those diligently. And I'm not gonna lie, it hasn't been 1 or 2 weeks. So far, it's been like 6 months, and I'm now seeing signs of improvement. It takes time, but you have a lot of time. And if you die tomorrow, you die tomorrow. That's your time. And learning what you're learning in this reading by what I'm sharing, if these are your breakthrough videos, if this is creating breakthroughs or resonating or giving you these aha moments, there's a good direction to follow. There's some good insight. That's some advice. It's not unsolicited. It's purely out of love and care that I share these messages, that I share these words in these specific ways. All tarot readers, any person that you relate to, anybody who's willing to take the time to hear you, fully, unconditionally receive you, and then offer unconditional advice, not from a place of ignorance, but from a place solely of, well, here's how I navigated these situations. Maybe that will help give you some insight as towards how you navigate you in your situations a little easier. Because you're going to learn the hard way. You're going to have to experience something regardless to really get it ingrained. You can learn things vicariously. We know don't touch the stove when we see somebody touch it and it's hot. But the next time you have to go and fix the stove, are you always going to think it's just hot and on? No, you're going to have to go tap it yourself to make sure it's off so you can change the things in it. You know what I mean? Like that. Like, you have to experience, you have to learn. So really, it's almost like asking for help or asking for other people's advice is kind of bullshit unless they're already the masters in that field. I'm not going and asking a banker how to procure real estate. No, I'm diving in to workshops, seminars, YouTube videos on what kind of things their mind work like. Like, what do they think about? What are their views of success? What makes them ahead of the rest? And then I watch tons of different people's perceptual reality, and then I compartmentalize all of their general ideas and beliefs and directions and how they progressed and produced a really financially stable outcome. How do you do that? okay, now I start to look at these things and I can start to envision and daydream and reminisce of these fun ideas that I could do that would make me feel well enough and positive and connected. I would feel okay doing this. I would feel morally okay doing this. That's the kind of plant that we've become. Not one that sees financial success as a goal, or what's the word? It is fully available. It is 100% fully available. It's just, what are you going to do? What's going to allow you and excite you enough to get to that, whatever you want? What's going to take? And then honoring yourself and loving yourself and actually attempting to do that, fighting for it. It might not be the answer, but what you are fighting for will lead you to more of the answer. I learned not what I want to do, I learned what not to do from people, places, and things my whole life. It's never that I learned, like, I never grew an opinion. It's like my ego was always sitting in this stasis of weakness and not qualified and shame, 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 and limited mindsets and beliefs, right? And it really only takes doing to start to see your fruits of your labor come forth to fruition, you know? One honorable choice at a time. So, again, I don't know what I want to do. I have no idea what I want to do. I just know what I don't want to do. That can be very overwhelming. That's Seven of Cups energy. That's like, okay, there's so many options. Now I'm overwhelmed. I don't know. Procrastinate some more. No, okay. So we've been spending time disciplining our mind, making myself do things I don't want to do regularly. Cold showers, go to the gym, eat healthy, go to bed on time, don't distract yourself, blah, blah, blah. Doing all these things I don't want to do that help me, right? That help me. But, and also recollecting and reminiscing all the things and learning the things and how to go about navigating relationships and love and emotions and blah, blah, blah. Learning from all those people what not to do, how to not treat people, how to not love that way. That's not love. That was a toxic, childish relationship that we fell in love. We didn't know what being love meant at that point, but that relationship that hurt so bad taught me that I wanted to be in love. I don't want to fall in love anymore. Subtle shifts, those subtle word differences are vastly important in your belief system. The difference between lover and friend, family and friend, the difference between love and appreciate, the difference between me and you. Subtle, yet powerful. Paradoxically powerful and beautiful. I'm going to pull a couple more cards. Got the Lovers on the bottom of here again. Oh, Two of Cups, Union. Wanted to say hi. So what this reading is about, not love, but it is about love, because that is the vibrational signature we want and thrive in. But we want to be love, and how do we be love? We unify our masculine and feminine energies. We equalize them. We got to dive into ourselves. That takes time. We have to understand and believe we have masculine and feminine inside of ourselves. We also have a center pillar too. So we got more than that, but to more of the surface level practices that this day and age is really taking on. You have to dive into yourself. You have to move past your ego. You have to find your divine qualities and feelings. Allow them to communicate. You have to harbor a relationship with them. Then you have to start acting in accordance to them. Once you get enough strength in that connection, which comes from doing the choices that they know are good for you. They know you better than you know you, by the way. That's why I don't know what I want. I just know what I'm doing, because Spirit, as I pray every moment, every day, every second, I'm going, what do you want me to do next? Should I go left? Should I go right? Should I go straight? Can I do this? And they're like, yes, no, yeah, okay. Sometimes I get yes and yes. Sometimes I get no and no. And I'm like, okay, let's stop and think more. Let's ask. Let's pray. It's made me slow way down, because no longer am I making the decisions. I'm just asking the questions. And you got to learn to ask the right questions in the right way for you. And you got to realize that you don't actually know you, which means you have to get to know you. You have to have a relationship with you. And it will end up becoming one of the most successful and fulfilling and entertaining relationships you'll ever get to know, because you can't run away from you. You can't. And going back to the plant metaphor, you can only uproot pieces of you. It does not mean that the remnants of those roots are still there. It does not mean that you got the whole bulb out of the ground. It still might be down there decaying and composting, but it's okay, because we're trying to grow a new plant. It's just the way gardening works. So we have the Knight of Cups, the Ten of Cups, and the Sun card. This is where we're going. The Knight of Cups is labeled with introspection, and it is reversed. So I'm seeing you're kind of in the middle, more like this Hanged Man energy. You're starting to see things from that different point of view. You're starting to really counter articulate the programming of your own mindset, and starting to look at it and being like, you're starting to question, critically thinking, starting to be like, oh, okay. Like, I'm happy where I'm at. I can live. It's not even surviving. I'm past surviving. I can live here where I'm at. But I'm not going to end here. No way. And if I know that I'm not going to end here, then what am I doing waiting? Right? Let's move forward. Let's move forward with intent and action and Godspeed. Because if I have a lot of life to live still, I sure would like to live it. Because living life is work. It's a school. And at some point, I want a day off from school. And if I want a really fulfilling day off from school, I better get all my fucking schoolwork done now so I can have a longer break then, right? Might as well help yourself a little bit in the long run than just today, than spending that money today. I go and get a coffee all the time because fuck it, I love it and I want it. And it's the one real thing that I treat myself with. I know it's not great for me, especially my coffee. I make it real sweet. It's like my dessert in the morning. I love it, you know. However, if I don't get it, it's not going to ruin my day. But I have thought about it. And those $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 every day add up, add up, add up. And the amount of coffee I'm ingesting goes up, goes up, goes up. So we balance that. I spent the last 2 weeks swapping down, going back from my double, triple, quad shots of espresso to like a cup of coffee in the morning, a beneficial one with some ghee in it and some supplements and stuff. So I still get that caffeine, I still get that good coffee flavor, but now we're benefiting more, and I buy it at home. So I'm not spending 5, 6, 7 to $10 every day. I'm spending $20 every week at home to make something more custom, personalized, with intent that is better for me, and not in a plastic cup, right? These are the subtle changes that really work, especially if you allow them to shift and stay. Granted, shifting and staying is another form of permanence as well that you're eventually going to have to uproot. So you got to be just really go with the flow every day and stop thinking and stop planning and stop coordinating and just trust that what's going to happen is going to happen, because what's going to happen is the sun card, baby. Like purpose, fulfillment, exactly what you're doing just by whatever the beginning of this reading was showing to you. When I'm saying there's something you should be doing that you're not for some reason, and I think you might be a procrastinator because these cards are saying, hey, you go do something, you're going to really like it. Or at least, even if you're not going to like that, you're going to like something eventually that comes from that. I didn't like the way this plant looked when it was first blooming. I thought it was a weak little blah blah blah, but Spirit promised me it's going to be the greatest, largest, grandest tree in all the world, producing all the fruit and all the textiles that we can ever ask for infinitely. So okay, I'm gonna believe it, but damn, this sure is a weak ass little sprout. Yeah, yeah, it is. So were you. You were a weak ass little sprout at some point too. And if you want to grow to be the tall tree that stretches to the skies, you better keep working hard and keep resisting the storms and keep holding yourself up. A tree doesn't grow because it hates itself. A tree grows because it loves itself. Because it has purpose. It has a direction. It has purpose. It has a direction. A tree doesn't love it or hate itself. It loves itself. 10 of Cups. And not only that, a tree doesn't really have anything to give itself. It only has things to give other things. A home for birds, shade for people, seeds for the dirt around it to plant more trees. It doesn't grow just for itself. Its purpose is self. It grows and produces for everything else around it unconditionally, never asking for anything in return. Just some peace and time and the space to grow. Knight of Cups reversed. All of this is being supported from a place of being where you weren't and you want to be, and you've been working on being where you want to be, and you're at a hurdle right now while you're watching this reading. And I'm here to tell you that that hurdle will offer you everything that you've wanted on the other side of it. Just go do it. Go try it. Go figure it out for you. Because the Ace of Pentacles is on the other side. And so for me, that is wealth. So I think I'm going to end this video, stop procrastinating, and go do what I told myself I would do, and go do what Spirit wants me to do, and go do what I have set up to try to culminate success in my life for me, so I can give more by obtaining more, by having more, by being worth more. I can give more because I'm tired of giving nickels and dimes. I want to give 20s and 100s shamelessly. Pull one oracle card, Earthbound Oracle, see what message Spirit wants us to walk away with today. Luna. Oh, I just got shivers, especially on my right side. That's interesting too, because that's not the moon side. That is my masculine sun side, and it just went, oh. And it goes, listen. The moon is one of the most powerful forces in our skies, next to the sun. Our skies, not the world skies, our skies. We see the sun and the moon as human beings. We live with left and right. We live with up and down. We live with yes or no. We have the sun and the moon. And when she comes out, we respect her. And when she comes out, we listen to her. We work with her. We cycle with her. And in the darkness, we rely on her to help shine the way. She is our intuition. She is our mother. She is celestial goddessness guiding us to ourselves. I also have ceremony and vision. Are you a magician? Are you an alchemist? Then you know what ceremony means. You know what ritual means, especially coming out with the moon card. I'd recommend that being a powerful thing for you. The vision card. Some of you are seers, some of you are visionaries, some of you are psychics and other mediums of clairs. Listen to those. They are being fully amplified with the moon. Every day, every night, and you don't know it because we think that this is normal. Well, I'll tell you what, one day we will be old and we won't know what happened, and we won't be as powerful as we are now. And so we got to make the best out of who we are now, because as that plant grows, that's all it knows is right now it is the best and most powerful it has and ever will be. And then one day it peaks, and you don't know that when you peak. You only know that you peaked in hindsight. When the tree starts to get old, lose all of its petals, leaves, whatever, pine needles, whatever kind of bush plant or tree you are, there's a point in that tree's life, plant's life, where it starts to dwindle, become less quality of wood, start to get eaten up by bugs and decay. And while that decaying's happening, we will look back at our lives and say, I don't know how I got to be 90. My brain doesn't feel like it, but my body sure does. Well, that's when we'll look and we'll reflect on our whole lives and we'll say, did I do the best that I could do? Did I have faith? Did I try? Did I succeed? And we'll have another one of these epiphany moments where we're sitting, instead of sitting here in anxiety for the future, being like, will I succeed? Will I try? Will I do this? Will I do that? Well, stop and just go do it. You won't regret that later in life. You will regret not doing stuff. The what ifs and should be's will become very loudly later in life. So there's going to be a time for them anyways. Right now doesn't have to be them. Man, that's a good coffee. I made this really nice home brew. I got some cinnamon in it. Oh, and I got this really cool new tea infuser, and I've been just soaking all kinds of stuff in it, drinking water and ginger and lemon peels and all kinds of good stuff, guys. I'll tell you what. Glass on glass, dude. Tastes like herbs. Tastes like hydration, nourishment, vitamins, minerals. Tastes like life. Okay. Like, I just want to say so many times, it's called the present for a reason, because it's a fucking gift. Oh, it's so hard to resonate in the present, too. It's so tough. But it's doable. It's very doable. So, anyways, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to disconnect from this channel. You can join me if you would like to. It's always nice to share the same air, because that's what we do, anyways. So, take a deep breath with me if you would like. And for the first time, we're going to go into an extended reading. Kind of new at this, so if you would like to follow me over there, I post the extended readings to a new subscription utilizable format on Patreon, and we will pull some more oracle cards for you. We will have some more insights and share some practice to help with the cultivation of mastering self and time and perception and blah blah blah. Pretty much all the same things we do here, just we go a little further in depth into this. So feel free to join me over there if you would like. If not, this is where I leave you. Please like, share, and subscribe if any of this resonates with you. And furthermore, thank you for tuning in, for resonating, for being sound. Thank you for receiving me. Thank you for being. And I love you. And until next time.